From the grand ballroom of the Hilton Hotel in Sydney, Australia, it's the 30th Ethnic Business Awards. Brought to you by the Ethan Group and the Ethnic Business Awards organisation. And now, please be upstanding for the National Anthem of Australia.
Australians, oh, let us rejoice, for we are young and free, with golden soil and wealth for toil. Our home is girt by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts of beauty, rich and rare. In history's page, let every stage advance Australia fair. Enjoy the strains, let us sing, advance Australia
Please welcome to the stage your host, respected journalist, presenter, writer and commentator, Ms. Tracy Spicer.
Thank you very much, and welcome to the 30th Ethnic Business Awards. It's such a joy once again to be hosting this very special event, an awards ceremony that for 3 decades has brought to the world the successes of Australia's diverse social and business landscape. To begin, I acknowledge and pay my deep respects to the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation. I thank their elders, past, present and emerging, for the privilege of meeting here on their traditional land to share these wonderful stories. I also pay respect to the knowledge embedded forever within the Aboriginal custodianship of country, and extend my respect to the Aboriginal people and colleagues who are present here tonight. Well, what can I say? The stories are true. Clara Helms really does have the voice of an angel. Later we'll have the privilege of hearing Sydney Music Company's stunning Buyong Zhong performing cello piece Casada Suite No. 3. A round of applause for the diversity of culture and immense talent in this room tonight. And now a very warm welcome to the many dignitaries who've joined us this evening. The Prime Minister, the Honourable Scott Morrison, representing the Leader of the Opposition, the Honourable Tony Burke. We also welcome the Honourable Christopher Pyne, the Honourable David Coleman, Senator the Honourable Zed Seselja, the Honourable Anthony Albanese, Senator the Honourable Conchetta Fierravanti-Wells, and all the representatives of the diplomatic missions present here tonight, along with the many other members of Parliament, both federal and state. We have so many other dignitaries who I'll mention later on in the evening. We're incredibly fortunate to have them here. It's a delight to welcome you all and our award finalists to the 2018 Ethnic Business Awards. Tonight's event celebrates our Australian identity while giving voice to the symphony of cultures and experiences within our shores. It seeks to promote further understanding and harmony throughout the community by highlighting the positive impacts of diversity. Joseph Assaf, the founder of these awards, once declared that diversity has been Australia's single most important catalyst for innovation and creativity in its social, artistic and economic development. The Ethnic Business Awards have been celebrating this for 30 years, so I dare say he's onto something there. Once again, we have the privilege of spotlighting 12 highly successful ethnic and Indigenous businesses, the leading finalists in this year's, believe it or not, 450 nominations. That's quite a turnout. While creating sustainable businesses in an increasingly fast-paced, unpredictable global business environment, our finalists have also made outstanding social contributions. Our 4 Indigenous in Business nominees have driven their own solutions to improve the lives of their communities and the population as a whole. Likewise, our 8 Migrant Business Award nominees who hail from 6 countries. Some arrived as refugees with little more than shoes on their feet and hope in their pockets. Others came seeking a life free from the discrimination they experienced in their country of origin. All of our nominees have risen above adversity to achieve financial success and ultimately give back to the community through employment, scholarships, charitable contributions to hospitals, welfare and sports associations, medical research and international aid programs. It's this combination of giving back despite having endured hardship that makes the Ethnic Business Awards so incredibly unique. The awards celebrate not just success, they celebrate community, our collective community, and our unity. As Joseph wrote in his book, Someone Else's Shoes, Australia is diverse culturally and linguistically. We are a family of more than 100 different nationalities and more than 200 different communities. Yet, to the outside world, we are all Australians, a perfect reflection of the globe. This year's migrant nominees are from Egypt, Scotland, Vietnam, Lebanon, Italy and India. Our Indigenous in Business nominees are from language groups in Western Australia, South Australia and New South Wales. Our finalists have pursued market opportunities in areas as diverse as food packaging equipment and mag wheels, construction and stationery, AI technology and cheese. Some of the businesses profiled tonight lead the world in their field. Some promote their cultural roots and all are Australian. So prepare to be inspired by our finalists, speakers, guests and outstanding talent as we share our message across Australia and the world via SBS, Australia's multicultural and multilingual broadcaster. SBS has been with us covering these awards since the very beginning. Further coverage comes from the National Indigenous Television Network, the Aurora Community Channel, Chujeong, the Sunrise Daily newspaper, Neos Cosmos, Media Today Group, Top Media Group, Indian Link Media Group, El Telegraph, the 1688 Chinese Newspaper Group and the Daily Chinese Herald. These awards have also been made possible through our incredibly generous sponsors, particularly the Ethan Group, an Australian market leader in information and communications. Also, we really thank Arab Bank Australia, ABC Tissue Products, WPP Australia New Zealand, Qantas Business Rewards, Australian Government Department of Home Affairs, Living Gems Lifestyle Resorts, Cedar Meats Australia, Divest Healthcare, Cinex, Heworth, Multi Connections, Design Awards and the Hilton Sydney. How about a big thank you for all of our wonderful sponsors. Thank you also to our panel of extremely generous judges who annually undertake to identify 12 candidates from what is often more than 400 nominees, and as I said this year, 450, quite extraordinary. Let's take a look now. We are honoured to welcome to our panel a 5th judge, a gentleman from the Adyamatana and Narunga nations, one of Australia's greatest athletes and now a CEO and Director of the Indigenous Defence Consortium, Mr. Adam Goodes. Yes, a living legend right there. Adam Goodes brings a wealth of experience to the table. He's known for his involvement and leadership in the Indigenous community and has served on the boards of the National Indigenous Council and Supply Nation, as well as STAND, a national disaster relief organisation. Together with fellow sporting great Michael O'Loughlin, Adam founded the Go Foundation in 2009. Supported by Corporate Australia, schools and universities and Indigenous organisations, this builds mentoring bridges to create brighter futures for Indigenous Australians. Adam has been an advocate for the Recognise movement and the Racism It Stops With Me campaign, a brand ambassador for Toyota, Qantas, Woolworths and CMC Indigenous services, and he's advised corporations such as David Jones and Lend-Lease on their reconciliation action plans. In 2014, Adam was named Australian of the Year for his leadership and advocacy in the fight against racism, both on the sporting field and within broader society. His company, the Indigenous Defence Consortium, is a single-point deployment project and account management service that facilitates the uptake of Indigenous-owned and controlled businesses in the defence sector. How about another round of applause for Adam Goods? Also on our judging panel, a household name, Gala Zampatti. Fashion icon, businesswoman and role model, Gala Zampatti has been dedicated to making the Ethnic Business Awards a success since the very beginning. Gala has received numerous Australian and international awards, among them a Member of the Order of Australia in 1987, 1994 Bulletin Qantas Businesswoman of the Year, 1994 Designer of the Year, Commendatore in the Order of Merit of the Italian Republic in 2004, and in 2009 Gala was elevated to a Companion of the Order of Australia for her service through leadership and management roles in fashion, property and multicultural broadcasting, and for being a role model and mentor for all women. A round of applause, please, for one of Australia's fashion pioneers, Gala Zampatti. And thank you again, Gala, for outfitting me in one of your classic creations. I promise not to drink red wine tonight. I'm serious. Another long-time supporter of the Ethnic Business Awards is Mr. Alan Gyngell. Alan is National President of the Australian Institute of International Affairs, an honorary professor in the ANU's College of Asia and the Pacific, and a member of the board of China Matters. His extensive experience inside and outside government includes appointments as Director General of the Office of National Assessments, the inaugural Executive Director of the Lowy Institute, and Foreign Policy Advisor in the Office of Prime Minister Paul Keating. He began his career as an Australian diplomat serving in Asia and Washington. Alan has written and spoken widely about Australian foreign and security policy and economic relations with Asia. His most recent book, Fear of Abandonment, Australia and the World Since 1942, was published in 2017. In 2009, he was made an Officer in the Order of Australia for service to international relations. I give you Mr. Alan Gyngell. Another powerhouse on our panel is Professional Chairman, Director and Business Consultant, Eve Crestani. Eve is an experienced chairman, non-executive director and business consultant. She's served on the boards of listed, unlisted, mutual, global and domestic companies and has a wealth of experience in the governance of complex and highly regulated businesses, strategy development, risk management, financial management and transformation. Eve is currently a director of Australian Unity Limited, Real Estate Limited, Booking.com and Heatley Real Estate Investment Trust. She's chairman of Ceres Hong Kong, sits on the ASX Disciplinary Tribunal and has been a fellow of the AICD since its inception. Her pro bono activities include a directorship with Soils for Life. Previously, she's been a director of the Zurich Group and Australian Unity and also chairman of Mercer. As a consultant, she provides strategic advice and transformation implementation to organisations such as KPMG, ING, the ASX, HK Securities Institute and Fairfax Interactive. Now this is Eve's 20th year as a judge of the Ethnic Business Awards. Thank you, Eve Crestani. And last but by no means least, Major General the Honourable Michael Jeffrey. Born in Western Australia in 1937, Major General Jeffrey graduated from the Royal Military College Duntroon into infantry, served operationally in Malaysia, Borneo and Vietnam, and has held command of all combat elements of the Army. He's been awarded the Military Cross and the South Vietnamese Cross of Gallantry. Retiring in 1993, Major General Jeffrey assumed the appointment of the Governor of Western Australia. His major interests during his tenure were youth affairs, education, environment and the family. For his services to the state, he was appointed a Companion in the Order of Australia, a commander of the Royal Victorian Order and a citizen of Western Australia. On his retirement as Governor in 2000, he established Future Directions International, a not-for-profit strategic research institute that examines longer-term issues facing Australia. Between August 2003 and September 2008, Major General Jeffrey served as the 24th Governor-General of the Commonwealth of Australia. Upon his retirement, he served as Chairman of the Royal Flying Doctor Service, Outcomes Australia, the Global Foundation and the Diamond Jubilee Trust Australia. He was appointed the National Advocate for Soil Health in 2013 by Prime Minister Gillard and is patron of various charitable organisations. He's presently the Chairman of FDI, Soils for Life, the Australian Trachoma Alliance and the Constitution Education Fund Australia. Major General Jeffrey is a Knight of St John, a Paul Harris Fellow and an honorary life member of the Returned and Services League. Please welcome Major General the Honourable Michael Jeffrey. Our judges are absolutely exceptional and they give their time incredibly generously. So how about another round of applause for those 5 exceptional human beings? And thank you so much again to everyone who's joined us tonight. As I mentioned earlier, many prominent guests lending their commitment to diversity by attending these awards this evening. These distinguished guests include Prime Minister of Australia, the Honourable Scott Morrison, the Honourable Christopher Pyne, Minister for Defence, the Honourable David Coleman, Minister for Immigration, Citizenship and Multicultural Affairs, representing the Leader of the Opposition, the Honourable Tony Burke, Manager of our Opposition Business in the House of Representatives. Also, His Excellency Milad Rad, Ambassador of Lebanon in Australia. His Excellency Mohammed Karat, Ambassador of Egypt in Australia. His Excellency Charbel Macaron, Consul General of Lebanon for New South Wales. Mr Mi Bin, Deputy Consul General of the People's Republic of China in Sydney. Former Governor-General, as I mentioned, the Honourable Major General Michael Jeffrey, Senator the Honourable Conchetta Fierravanti-Wells, the Honourable Anthony Albanese, Shadow Minister for Infrastructure, Transport, Cities and Regional Development and Tourism, the Honourable John Ajaka, and of course, the long-time friend of the awards, the Honourable Philip Ruddock. We also have an international visitor from Lebanon, the Honourable Ziad Aswad, a member of the Lebanese Parliament. A heartfelt welcome to all of you and for those of you who were unable to be here tonight. We miss you. Once again, we'd like to extend our gratitude to you and to our partners for your support of the Ethnic Business Awards. Thank you so very much for being here tonight. And now, a man I had the pleasure of introducing earlier, Major General the Honourable Michael Jeffrey is going to give us some insights into the awards and his continuing journey with them. Please welcome him to the stage. Lovely to see you
Lovely
again.
to see you again.
Last time we spoke, you mentioned the possibility of creating a foundation to run the awards. How's that going?
Well, Tracy, I think it's gone extremely well. Namely, the foundation has been established and it's due once again to Joseph, I'm sure ably supported by his wife Angela and his team. And it's a real pleasure for this to actually have occurred, because what it does, I think, is now establish the Ethnic Awards for the real long term, with a proper structure, organisational structure, fundraising structure, governance structure, etc. And it will do a great deal to reduce some of the workload on Joseph, and I know Angela will very much appreciate that, because just think about it, just looking at this organisation here tonight, but when you think about the several hundred of candidates in the Ethnic Awards that have had to be looked at, reviewed, judged, videos made on the winners, it's a huge, huge workload. But what it's done for this country, I think, has been absolutely extraordinary in encouraging ethnic businesses and stronger economic growth for the nation.
Well, Joseph and Angela are two of the hardest working people I know, so that is incredibly welcomed. Now, what about the establishment of some form of alumni organisation as well?
Well, that's going to occur, and I think it's a very wise move. But firstly, of course, you've got to get the basics done, and that is the foundation. but the alumni will now be the next cab off the rank, and patently what we want to attract to that alumni are people who really have energy, go in the business world, and the obvious candidates to really kick that off will be, I think, previous award winners and nominees for the Ethnic Business Awards, because they show all the characteristics of what this country wants: leadership, doing the tough yards, family involvement, because most of them are families, and so to get a group of those as the alumni to support the foundation will be a terrific move.
That's a brilliant idea. You've been involved with the awards for many, many years. What are some of your highlights?
Well, I think the highlights, of course, are the stories, because just about every story that you as you'll hear tonight, have been stories where people have come from very difficult hard circumstances, particularly if they're immigrants, and perhaps where they haven't had education, no money, families broken up, very sad circumstances in home countries, and they come to this country, and what do? They get themselves educated by working 12 hours and then going off to night school or to university. Then they'd have a shot at establishing a business. They have to learn a language, and they do it. Every single one of them do it. And to me, that's the inspiring thing. And if I had my druthers, I'd like to see the whole of the Canberra Press Gallery here on these occasions to listen to these inspiring stories and get it out widely to the community, because SBS does a great job, but let's get a few more as well who can help get that message out.
I agree entirely. What I love is I can see your passion. You know, you're absolutely wedded to this concept. Any closing comments?
I just want to, congratulate again Joseph and Angela. I think it's his birthday too, isn't it? Something pretty close to a birthday. I think we should give him a round of applause for that one. He's only 32, but as the instigator, the design, and having worked on this now for over 30 years, his contribution with Angela and the team to bring this to the heights that it's now reached, and now where it's going to be a permanent thing, I think is magnificent. And I think the other thing, of course, is to congratulate all those who are participating tonight, and along with all those who participated in the previous 3 years. They've all made a wonderful contribution to our nation in so many ways.
Well, thank you so much for your support and in the past, and looking towards a very bright future. Really appreciate your time.
Thanks, Trace. Thank you, everyone.
Very passionate man there about the Ethnic Business Awards. The 24th Governor-General of the Commonwealth of Australia, and now Ethnic Business Awards Judge, Major General Michael Jeffrey. You know, over the years at the Ethnic Business Awards, we've had the privilege of meeting people from all walks of life and hearing their stories. New Australians, Prime Ministers, dignitaries from all over the world. We've enjoyed every minute. Take a look at some of those special moments.
The Ethnic Business Awards, coming of age tonight, have long been a feature of our splendid multicultural landscape. They pay tribute to the extraordinary achievement and contribution of people born on shores other than our own.
Post-war migration began as our nation's greatest experiment, and it has become our nation's greatest success. Because as migrants, we accepted that in a new land, we shouldn't only take, but give as well. And yes, it's worked. Immigration has worked.
Diversity creates unity. That unity, born of diversity, creates opportunity. Multiculturalism is Australia's competitive advantage in the global marketplace.
As Australians, we pride ourselves on our ethnic diversity, our innovation, our entrepreneurship, and of course, excellence. And it's these very qualities that are celebrated tonight through the Ethnic Business Awards.
For those of you who are here tonight as finalists in these Ethnic Business Awards, it is a great thing that you are here. You are our automatic bridge to the world, and so much that we do in commerce, in export, in import, in trade and investment. You form such natural, wonderful, diverse, fluent, culturally sensitive human bridges to the rest of the world that you are for us an enormous national strength.
It's not possible to think of the economic growth of Australia over the last 30 or 40 years without thinking of the massive contribution that have been made by the group loosely called ethnic Australians to the development of our country.
We're taking the chance to highlight the tremendous achievements and efforts of some Australians who've come to this country, have not started with the natural advantage of knowing it, and have done things that are special, which we can all identify with and which we can all celebrate. And that's really, I think, what the Ethnic Business Awards are about.
I am never prouder of Australia than on a night like tonight, which exemplifies everything that is good about our country. The migrant story lends a heroic dimension to our national life. That's what we celebrate, and that is at the heart of the Australian story.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back to the stage Tracy Spicer.
Thanks to public interest, the people in this room, our supporters, sponsors, and the dedicated behind-the-scenes team that crafts this celebration of multiculturalism, the Ethnic Business Awards family grows exponentially every year. And who better to share the joy of this experience than the person who started the whole thing? A man who's not only the founder of these awards, but who continues to be a major sponsor as well. A proud Australian, originally from Lebanon, a business achiever and a published author, he's considered a pioneer in the field of multicultural communications. He's served on many boards, councils and committees and contributed to many policies. He's the recipient of several awards. In 2010, he was made a member of the Order of Australia. In 2014, he received the Lifetime Achievement Award from the Australian Migration and Settlement Council, and this year was made an Officer of the Order of Australia. Would you please welcome to the stage Mr. Joseph Assaf AO.
Thank you, Tracy. And what a pleasure to join you at this landmark event, the 13th Ethnic Business Awards Gala presentation dinner. I'm delighted to welcome Australia's 30th Prime Minister, the Honourable Scott Morrison, and his lovely wife, Jenny, and both are familiar with these awards and good friends of the awards. Welcome to all our honoured guests, dignitaries, diplomatic representatives, ministers, shadow ministers, senators, members of parliament, both state and federal, our terrific sponsors, our dedicated judges, and of course, all our fantastic finalists. Welcome and thank you to you all. When I look around this room at all the tables and the lights, and I see people coming together to celebrate as one, it seems to me that this really is a party, and it is. It is our 13th anniversary, a real milestone. Looking back at my time in Australia, there have been many milestones, and by some strange coincidence, they seem to mark each decade of my own journey. Just over 50 years ago, I arrived in Australia from Lebanon wearing someone else's shoes and carrying nothing but a suitcase full of dreams. In 1978, around 10 years after I arrived in Australia, my first dream came true. I married my lovely wife, Angela. I normally call her my white angel. Her name is Angela Bianca. And together we embarked upon our shared journey through life, building a business, a family, and a future. 10 years on, in 1988, I established what is now Australia's longest-running business awards. In 1998, I sold my business to WPP, one of the world's largest groups of companies in marketing communication services, and I'm delighted to welcome a strong team here tonight from their executive. Move on another 10 years to 2008, and this is when my book, In Someone Else's Shoes, was published as another means of highlighting and celebrating the importance of diversity and the endless possibilities generated by multiculturalism, not only in business, but in society as a whole. It wasn't long after that we began the process of even greater inclusion in these awards by moving to establish the Indigenous in Business Award as part of our celebration of cultural diversity, and what an amazingly rich and a productive initiative that has proved to be. Now, in 2018, we are here to celebrate outstanding enterprise and success for the 30th time. Over the last 30 years, over 21,000 nominees, including the finalists and winners from 102 countries of origin, have been and will continue to be both inspirations and role models for all those others who come to our shores. The migrant finalists and winners became role models to other migrants and inspired me to establish the Indigenous in Business category. And now that flow of inspiration continues as Indigenous finalists and winners become role models in their own right for other Indigenous businesses. The majority of our migrant nominees left their homelands and often their families and friends as well, and set out to make a new life in a new country, facing challenges and looking for new opportunities. Many of them did not even speak English. Many of them knew not a single soul in their new home. Some had no home to go back to if they failed. Some made the journey to escape hardship, war, or oppression. Some made it to join loved ones who had already taken the voyage, yet more were driven by the simple hope of advancement, a dream of a better life in a better place. Refugees, business migrants, skilled migrants, no matter who they were or how they came, they have in their thousands over the years made a massive and enduring contribution to the fabric of Australian life. They have brought their many and varied cultural sensibilities, their food, their music, their business acumen, their international contacts, their often unusual ways of doing things, and most importantly, their energy and determination. Migrants have enriched and uplifted us, adding new fresh colors to our multicultural rainbow and a remarkable, compelling diversity to our cultural and economic landscape. They operate and excel in all areas of business: food, wine, manufacturing, science and technology, agriculture, hospitality service and service industries, communication and medicine. Wherever there is or there has been a business opportunity, migrants have seized it, added their own unique qualities and innovative thinking to the equation, and in the process, changed the way we live. Over the last 30 years, there have been 3 unwavering and outstanding messages at the core of all of our successful achievers. The first is a deep sense of gratitude to this country. The second is a sincere appreciation for all of our leaders for maintaining a secure and fertile environment. And the third, a fervent desire to give back to the community that in their eyes has given them more than they could ever have dreamt. So, to everyone, Australia's first people, the Indigenous Australian, and to the new Australians, the migrant, I say thank you. You are all proof that enterprise, determination, resilience, innovation, and hard work can reap huge rewards, not just for you, but for Australia as a whole. Happy anniversary, and thank you. It is now my great pleasure to welcome to the stage the Prime Minister of Australia, Mr. Scott Morrison.
Well, thank you very much, Joseph, and to Angela as well, to Major General Jeffrey and Mrs. Jeffrey, to my parliamentary colleagues, Christopher Pyne, the Minister for Defence, and David Coleman, the Minister for Immigration, Multicultural Affairs and Citizenship. I know that gig pretty well. And so does the fellow down here, Philip Ruddock, who I acknowledge as well. And so does Tony Burke, who's recommending, I'm sure, the Leader of the Opposition, but you see me representing him here tonight. And to Anthony Albanese, who's been a friend of these awards as well for many years. It's great to be here, for Jenny and I to be here again together this evening. We've been a friend of these awards, and of course Joseph and Angela, for many, many years. And I've addressed this gathering before in different roles, but I've got to tell you, to be able to address you tonight as Prime Minister is very special, because and I've just noticed Zeta Selja is here also tonight. It's good to see you here as well, Zed. There are many great things about being Australian, and to have the great privilege to lead Australia, and to be able to say you're the Prime Minister of the greatest and most successful immigration country on earth, I think is very special, because that is who we are. This country is an immigration success story without parallel anywhere in the world, and we should be enormously proud of what we have all achieved over generations and generations. The Australia we love and share is an immigrant country. Now, I am the son of an immigrant many times removed. My forebears came under the compulsory immigration plan of the British back in the 1780s. But you know, their story wasn't that different, well, apart from the serving a sentence for the first 10 or so years. But they went out to Richmond and Windsor, and they married in Sydney. They started a business. It was an agricultural business. They started a farm and built a life for themselves out of what was extraordinary adversity. And each generation after that sought to build on that and make their way and build this country. The story is no different if you turned up 10 generations ago or you turned up 10 days ago. It's the same story. And we've been telling that story as a country for a long time. Unless you're an Indigenous Australian, who we acknowledge tonight, and elders past and present, and in the future, we have all come from somewhere else, at some point. And that's what actually bonds so much of us together, because that is our story. Over the last 20 years, our population has grown by some 6 million people, about as many as it was there when our federation was born. And half of that growth, more than it in fact, has been the result of immigration. So it is integral to our Australian success story as a people, as a prosperous people, as a positive, outward-looking people. It's who we are. It's integral to our economy, it's integral to our identity, and it is who we are. And it didn't happen by accident. This is very important. This idea that Australia would be an outward-looking immigrant society was not born in the post-war period. Henry Parkes, the father of federation, said this in the 1800s. He said that he hoped Australia would become a nation that would gather all the fruits of the culture of the world, and that those who adopt our land would serve it with a patriot's love. I think if Sir Henry Parkes could have projected forward tonight and seen the fruits of the culture of the world celebrated here tonight, he'd be feeling pretty happy with the vision that he saw all those years ago in this very city. Because it is our experience. And I've been reflecting a lot on it in the last few days, the last couple of weeks. And I've thought about it as I've reflected on the life of Sisto Malaspina. Sisto told people he could vividly recall the day he arrived in Australia 54 years ago in October 1964. After almost a month at sea, his two older brothers were waiting for him at Station Pier in Port Melbourne. There was a warm reunion, and then Sisto slid into the car for the drive to his brother's house in Essendon. The first Australian he met was a man named Jim. It wasn't Bruce, it was Jim. And after welcoming Sisto to Australia, Jim got straight to business. He said, "Now, young man, you're in Essendon. You're in Australia. You must follow and barrack for Essendon." Is there a more Melburnian way to welcome to Australia than that? And that was the start of Sisto's love for Australia and the Essendon Football Club. Sisto's story of moving to Australia was like so many others. He was the baby in his family. In Italian, of course, Sisto means sixth born. With his brothers and sisters, he grew up in a small town in northern Italy where his parents owned a restaurant. And as soon as he turned 18, he followed his brother's footsteps. He packed his bags, farewelled his family and friends, a story familiar to many people in this room, and migrated to Australia. Sisto's first job was here in a factory recycling tyres. But within a decade, he'd taken the reins of Pellegrini's Espresso Bar, an Italian cafe on Burke Street, and inch by inch, day by day, year by year, he turned it into one of Australia's and Melbourne's greatest institutions. He was known for saying, "Here we give you more than food. This is your home away from home." And it is more than a cafe. It's more than a business. It's more than a Melbourne community icon. It is one with a global reputation. Its proprietor, Sisto Malaspina, became a living legend until a moment. Sisto was unique, but the richness and generosity of his heart that he brought to Australia surpassed that. It was so typical of the hundreds of thousands who have made their way to our land over many years. People who have created businesses, worked hard, raised families, looked after each other, came to make a contribution, not take one. And in that moment, Sisto was taken from us by the hand of something that has no place in this country. What triumphed was not the hand of evil, but the love and the passion and the heart of a great Australian. That conquers these things every time. That's why Australia and what Australia is about conquers every time. What you have done, what you have worked for, what you have achieved is the best of Australia. And it conquers all those things that would seek to undermine this country. That's what we celebrate tonight. We celebrate these stories. Caring, compassionate, generous stories, hard-working stories, vibrant personalities, vision. Migrants arriving here like Joseph with a suitcase full of dreams. Pursuing those dreams, enriching Australia's society, the Australian economy, Australian lives, the heart and soul of our nation. What I talk about is a fair go for those who have a go, is what fairness in Australia means. And that's no better demonstrated by the migrant communities of Australia and the ethnic communities of Australia. So today, we are the most successful immigration country on earth, thanks to Sisto Malaspina and all of those who've walked in his shoes and will walk in his shoes in the future. Tonight marks 30 years of the Ethnic Business Awards, and it's so wonderful to see the evolution of the awards over that period of time, Joseph, and your life's passion in your post-business career, shared by Angela. It's also wonderful to see that these awards over many years have also now embraced our first Australians, our Indigenous Australians, and celebrated their tremendous success stories as we create the connection between Indigenous Australians and the rest of us who came. And we have the connection in values and aspirations, and I think that's what this night also celebrates. There is a spirit of entrepreneurship sweeping across so many Indigenous communities, and it's fantastic to know that that's being recognised tonight. I honour it, and I want to be part of that force and that change and that passion that continues to encourage you on. And in doing so, I also want to encourage and thank Joseph and Angela for founding these awards, and all of those who have worked with Joseph and Angela over these years to make them the success that it clearly is. We, of course, as a government are committed to seeing businesses succeed, people who take risks succeed, people who put it all on the line for our great nation to succeed, to employ young Australians. Nothing better than seeing a young Australian get a job. Changes their world, changes their life, changes their future. And so that's what we celebrate tonight. I congratulate all the nominees for all the work you've put in. I hope you'll enjoy celebrating the night and celebrating all the nominees tonight. Some will win, some will come back and win next time. We've seen that before, haven't we, Joseph? Because you stick at it and you succeed, and we've seen it. And so I hope you do have a very pleasant evening. I want to close tonight by turning back to Sisto once more. If coffee has a spiritual home, Italy might just pip Australia. In Italy, they follow a Bible when it comes to drinking coffee. Italians usually don't drink cappuccinos after midday, and it's unthinkable to have one after dinner. But guess what? Sisto disagreed with such hard and fast rules. He'd say people should drink their coffees how they like it, the way they like it, when they like it. It might sound like a small thing, but that respect for others and tolerance and acceptance of difference is the foundation for modern Australia. I wonder if you'd just join with me, just for a brief moment. Let's just remember Sisto. So congratulations on everything you do. My hope is that our wonderful shared story of harmony, of success, of prosperity as a diverse but united people will continue well into the future. Thank you. Enjoy your coffee.
Thank you so much, Prime Minister, for sharing your insights, and thank you to Joseph Assaf for your unlimited energy and enthusiasm for celebrating Australia's cultural and economic diversity. How about another round of applause? Okay, it's very exciting. It's now time to share the stories that make the Ethnic Business Awards so unique. It gives me great pleasure to introduce the first category in this evening's ceremony, Excellence in Indigenous Business. To best illustrate the criteria considered by our judges, obstacles and hardships overcome, ingenuity in the marketplace, growth, future potential, contribution to the community and business landscapes and overall business success, Tom Geraghty and his team at Worldwide Pictures have assembled short films about each finalist's achievements. So please sit back, enjoy our nominees' stories, and remember the order in which we meet them is not indicative of who's going to win. That information is kept completely confidential until the award's presented. And so, to our first nominee in the Indigenous in Business category, from Adelaide, South Australia, we have Cameron Buzzacott of Zancott Recruitment, a 100% Indigenous-owned proprietary company that recruits, mentors and retains Indigenous talent to help businesses meet their Indigenous workforce participation and diversity targets. This year, 30% of the company's 500 plus labour hire personnel identified as Indigenous and serviced major infrastructure projects for Boeing, Fulton Hogan, Babcock and many other companies. With offices in Sydney, Adelaide, Melbourne, Brisbane, Darwin, Perth, Whyalla and Dubbo, Zancott has quadrupled its turnover in the past 4 years.
My name is Cameron Buzzicott and I'm the Managing Director of Zancott Recruitment. Zancott Recruitment are a full-service, 100% Indigenous owned recruitment company, supplying blue-collar and white-collar services to a broad range of industries. My family group's from the Arabana people, which is northern South Australia, Lake Eyre region. 12 months into starting the business, my business partner had a motorbike accident and suffered a brain injury, and he was unable to return to work. So we could have, either went one way and shut the business or went another way and soldiered on to where we are today. So I made that decision to buy him out with the support of good family and friends and my wife. That was a big step and a big challenge. Zancott provides labour on a range of projects, from civil labourers right through to engineers, contracts administrators, trades assistants. There's not many roles we haven't filled in the past. We started off with just the two of us to employing 30 internal staff in 7 offices around the country. It's been quite a growth journey from 12 staff to 500 in the field. On the back of the construction industry going sort of into a lapse, we found a lot of those businesses were going into administration, so we'd lost quite a bit of money. So we decided to start working with some blue chip businesses, defence, some corporates, some more secure clients. So we had to spend a lot of time and resources putting together good tenders, trying to understand what our clients are looking for. That was a decision we made about 5 years ago, and it's paid off. The business has grown significantly. So, even the last 12 months, it's grown 100%. While we're proud of our heritage and our culture, I view Zancott as a recruitment company that can compete against any other business out there. I look at business as a challenge day to day, and we have to be better than our competitors. Since the day we've opened our doors, we've always been passionate about Indigenous engagement, employment, not just employing people, but in our supply chain. We work with a number of Indigenous businesses in our supply chain. We always try and recruit locally and employ locally and give back to community where we can. We sponsor a number of sporting programs, scholarships and things. I think something that sits with me is, I was a young lad that when we first started out the business, he was a bit of a rat bag. And today he's a superintendent on a major infrastructure project. And he worked for Zancott for probably 4 or 5 years until he got his most recent opportunity. And it was him coming up to me and thanking me for supporting him through those needs. And now, he's got a bright future and able to provide a great life for his family and his children. So it's those stories that resonate with me. My advice to Indigenous kids and young entrepreneurs is anything is possible. You just need to get out there and give it a shot.
A terrific story, and accepting a certificate of achievement for Zancott Recruitment on behalf of Cameron Buzzicott, please welcome Mr. David Kuzner. Our next finalist is proud of her company's good old-fashioned customer service and 50% strong Indigenous workforce. Based in North Perth, Western Australia, Cole Workwear is Australia's first and only Indigenous safety wholesaler. Established in 2013, the company is committed to ethical sourcing and has developed a product with design features that connect wearers with Noongar culture.
I'm Cheyenne Cole, and our company is Cole Workwear. We're an Indigenous-owned workwear company, so we supply workwear and safety equipment to governments and corporates around Australia. My mother is from Broome, north of Western Australia, and that's the Bardi people. And my dad is from the Noongar country in Perth.
I'm Michael Chima, and I met with Gordon Cole, Cheyenne's father, in Denver of all places back in 2012. We were part of a Indigenous business delegation, and I gave Gordon a call and said, Gordon, do you want to start a workwear company? And Cole Workwear was born.
My father approached me and asked me if I was interested in taking over the company. I was quite nervous to accept at the start. I'm still studying at university full-time, doing a double major in English and ancient and classic history, but they had the belief in me that I was able to run the company, so which gave me the belief that I was able to do what I'm doing today.
When we first started, we certainly didn't make any money. And there were many, many occasions where we all questioned what we were doing, quite frankly. The company started to grow off the back of a particularly large order for workers on the Wheatstone project. That one order filled up 7 full 40-foot containers. So as a small business, that was a really significant boost for us.
We operate in a very competitive space, but what makes us different from the other companies is that we have designed and produced our own boomerang range. In creating the company, my father decided to use the 4 boomerangs to represent his 4 children, so me and my 3 brothers. There's an intricate design on the actual boomerangs. We have the river, which represents not only the rivers in Perth, but all over Australia, as it's a national company. Being an Indigenous business, it has come with its challenges and it can be quite difficult, but with the new changes in legislation, we are able to increase our opportunities, and it has never been a better time for Indigenous businesses.
The business has grown significantly. We've doubled every year for the last 3 years.
In the next 5 to 10 years, we plan to double our boomerang range, increase our capacity and employ more Indigenous staff.
Some of the things that Cole Workwear does to give back to the community, we helped fund an Indigenous girls educational program, which basically helps young Indigenous women from all around Western Australia. And more recently, we've supported Pass It On clothing, whereby they give homeless people unwanted uniforms.
My advice to younger Indigenous people is to get out of your comfort zone. I wouldn't have been in this position that I would be in today if I didn't get out of my comfort zone. You have to try something new. Starting at an early age, you will know how to overcome it. You will be able to have the resources and the ability to do whatever you want to do.
Just brilliant, adding flair to Australia's safety industry. Please welcome and congratulate Cheyenne Cole, CEO of Cole Workwear. Tremendous achievement. And now, another inspiring tale celebrating role models and vision, this time from Armidale, New South Wales. Jeremy Blanche of JNC Group Australia invested in the stock market at an early age, lost everything in the GFC, and then bounced back in a way that can only be described as the stuff of dreams. Turning hardship into opportunity, he applied everything he'd learnt from his father into setting up a multidiscipline civil construction, fit-out, design and landscaping business. In the past 8 years, the JNC Group of companies has proliferated. Its portfolio now includes JNC Fencing and Security, JNC Linked, Sports Build and EXC Exhibition Centre Display Solutions. Take a look.
My name is Jeremy Blanche. My company is JNC Group Australia and we live in Armidale, which is Anouan country. I'm a proud Anouan man. JNC Group, we work with a number of clients in a number of sectors, predominantly civil construction and building and construction, which work with across defence space to health and education. My dad was a tremendous inspiration to me, and I saw him create a business and support our family from nothing. We spent the good first few years of our life almost like gypsies, cruising around in caravans around Australia wherever he could find work. I started working for my dad as soon as I left school in 1997 and started as a general labourer. It was tough, I think, working in a family business for your dad. It's a tough game too, so I spent a lot of my time away from my family working in the terrible mine site jobs. 2007, my dad at that point had decided to retire. I didn't have the cash to support a purchase of his half of the business of his partner, so I basically went out and done a bit of freelancing and worked for myself, and that was a sort of catalyst to start my own show. It was very scary to do. I had my firstborn child, Charlie, no job, and staring down at a fair amount of debt after the GFC. In reflection, is one of the best things I could have ever done, is start my own business and my own journey from that point, because it was really from scratch, with not a cent in the back pocket to get things moving. And it really does force you to have ownership and think about everything you are doing very carefully. From that 0 point to a couple of $1 million 2 years later, we stepped up and sort of almost doubled our revenue continuously to 4 to 7, and we're looking at revenues over $20 million last year, and this year's cracking on to be probably in excess of 40 million. Promoting our business as an Indigenous business in the last 5 to 10 years hasn't done us any harm. The government and corporates have been incredibly supportive of businesses that want to make a true change to their community, so I think that's really helped our cause and our movement. I always say, first and foremost, we are a construction business. It just so happens that me, as the owner of the business, makes us an Indigenous business also. So we have a lot of social aspects that come along with that, where we try to strive for Indigenous employment. Australia's helped because it's just a fabulous place, safe place to live and work. So we can put our heads down and bums up and work on these things. So we're a lucky country, and we can concentrate on the things that we want to.
Heads down, bums up. What a terrific work ethic. Jeremy Blanche, CEO and General Manager of JNC, and as you heard, a company that prides itself on its people and commits 10% of its profits to community projects. Congratulations, Jeremy. Now, speaking of community, our next and final nominee in this category is Cultural Choice, an office supply business that services a growing web of corporations, schools and government agencies. Cultural Choice is more than a supplier. It's a business and community enabler. Along with its own line of products, the company promotes smaller Indigenous businesses through its online store catalogue. It contributes to the health and welfare of Indigenous communities by supporting education and training initiatives, as well as sporting and cultural events. It's also established the Cultural Choice Association, a charity designed to assist in the prevention of Aboriginal youth suicide.
My name is Mark Watson. I'm a Camillaway man from northern New South Wales.
And I'm Jodie Watson, and our company is Cultural Choice Office Supplies. Yeah, we sell furniture, stationery, PPE, catering.
White goods. Yep.
So we had a news agency, and it was obviously a struggling industry. So we joined the New South Wales Indigenous Chamber of Commerce and became Supply Nation certified. We tried to sell the news agency and we couldn't sell it, and we ended up walking away.
Yeah, it was hard, but you just had to do what you had to do, I suppose. So we started in the house.
And then we were growing out of that, and we couldn't really afford to go into an office space. And that's when we sort of sat down and went, let's sell the house and, let's sort of expand the business the way it needs to be done. So we've been here for 18 months now, yeah. Through our relationship with the New South Wales Indigenous Chamber of Commerce and becoming Supply Nation certified, we were able to get in front of the right procurement people within government. We met with the New South Wales Department of Education, and they were looking to directly engage with an Aboriginal business, and they held our hand and really committed to working with us. So we actually worked with them behind the scenes for 18 months before we went live. We launched our corporate division, I think, later 2016.
It was after we went to our first Supply Nation trade show in Melbourne that we needed to have our own range. I was fortunate enough with Uncle Les Irwin. He was an elder from the Hunter. We'd been up to his studio, discussed some different ideas. He'd always show us how he actually painted. And it's not about just pictures, it's about there should be a story to every painting. So every product's got a story to it. The main story is around sustainability. It's a learning circle that the elders are teaching the younger generation about sustaining country, basically.
Mark's artwork on the products is something that I think is something we'd like to expand on more, have more of our own product range. So, I think there's some good opportunity there in that side of the business as well. I guess the last 12 to 18 months, we've seen a real shift in, I think, social responsible procuring, and people are a lot more, they're looking for more unique, items in general, just something a little bit unique and authentic. We've just started our own charity, which we're really excited about. It's something that we've wanted to do for many years. 10 cents from all of our cultural choice products will go into the Cultural Choice Association. It is to assist in the prevention of Aboriginal youth suicide and its causes in Australia. People like our story and they want to be part of that, and they want to be part of our growth as well.
What an incredibly important cause that they're supporting. Unfortunately, Mark has been struck ill, so accepting the Certificate of Achievement on his behalf and for Cultural Choice is Ken Hind. Congratulations. Well, what brilliant nominees and finalists in this category. Please join me in showing our support and appreciation for all of the incredible finalists in our first category. Now, as well as those certificates of recognition, our finalists in all categories have enjoyed travel courtesy of Qantas, transfers and top-of-the-line accommodation. The winner in each category will also receive $10,000 cash from the Arab Bank Australia and a stunning crystal trophy. How good is that? And of course, for all those great prizes, we must again thank our generous sponsors.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back to the stage Tracy Spicer.
Tonight we have the pleasure of meeting Mr. Joseph Rizk, OAM, CEO and Managing Director of Arab Bank Australia. Please make him welcome. Now, please take us through your relationship with the Ethnic Business Awards in recent years.
Well, I think Joseph said he's been here for 51 years, and I've known him for 51 years. I've been here for 60 years. As a young boy from Lebanon, my parents settled in rather quickly, and within a 10-year period, less than 10 years, we met Joseph. And I think he was, he states it quite often, we were probably one of the first families he's met. And the Ethnic Business Awards celebrates 30 years, and we've all said congratulations, but I don't think we can congratulate them enough for the efforts that they've put into this for the last 30 years. I've been privileged, of course, to be there for 30 years also with the awards, because I worked at NAB for quite a number of years, and I was lucky enough to be there on year one. So congratulations, Joseph, and I really, really respect the relationship, and his passion for what he does today is almost the same level of passion when I first met him, for diversity, and his efforts to connect people and his passion for people has not changed at all.
You are truly part of the Ethnic Business Awards family. That's a magnificent story.
Thank you.
What makes Arab Bank Australia different, particularly in the current banking environment?
I think, you know, in today's environment, every bank is getting knocked. We've got the Royal Commission, we've got this really pressure period that's out there. What makes banking different is really the people. And the Arab Bank, I'm proud to say, we've got a fabulous board, dedicated board, but it's the passion that's demonstrated by my people, my team. What makes me go to work early every day and enjoy it is the fact that I've got good people around me. And when you've got good people, they know how to deal with relationships. And that's what it's about. It's about really understanding the clients, understanding their needs, and doing it the right way. Thanks, Tracy.
What sector of the market are you currently focusing on? Business lending?
Well, yeah, I mean, we've always focused on business lending. You can appreciate, the community that we've dealt with is not just the Arabic community. It's the broader Australian community. We've got businesses that come across a wide spectrum of activity. We're in residential lending. A lot of people don't realise, but we do lend home loans. And we're extremely competitive on home loans and on business lending. We are a bank that's been here for 31 years. And we are very, very close to the broader Australian community.
Well, thank you for your support of Joseph and Angela and the Ethnic Business Awards for such a long time. Thank you so much. Joe Riggs.
Thank you.
And again, a big thank you to Arab Bank for once more adding its support to the Ethnic Business Awards, heading into our 31st year. Remarkable. One of the many things I love about these awards is the community that flows from them. In the rich 30-year history, it's had more than 21,000 nominations, resulting in 190 finalists and 88 winners, including tonight. And of course, a strong and ever-expanding alumni network. It's in this spirit that I'd like to take a few moments to remember our champion of champions who sadly passed away early this year. The one and only Henry Keishing Ngai.
My name is Henry Keishing Ngai. My company name ABC Tissue Product Pty Limited. My business is tissue paper, full range of tissue paper. I migrated in 1985. Once I get off from the plane, I start my business from the garage. First 2 years lost money, and then from the third year start to break even. Last year we record more than 400 million already.
ABC Tissue Products.
In 2004, I win the Ethnic Business Award. Really excited. Since then, my business more than double. On the same time, my charity work more than triple. When I go to Cambodia, I find a lot of old people. They have the cataract. They have 150,000 patients in waiting list. Then I start to go to the hospital to negotiate the price, and then I help the cataract people free of charge to do the operation. Up to now in Cambodia, I help more than 30,000. In China, I help about 8,000 to 9,000. In 2012, I go to visit deaf and dumb children school. They have no hearing aid. To buy in the market is very expensive, more than $1,000 to $2,000. Then I support them to buy big amount. My cost is very little, only $15 per hearing aid. I already commit to donate 260,000 pieces of hearing aid. Tissue business is not like high-tech. High-tech can be booming tomorrow and cool down up to tomorrow afternoon. My business will be growing and growing because the population is bigger. You cannot live without tissue paper. We don't put everything in one cover. Too danger. If a fire, we lost everything. And our customer now have paper to wipe their bum.
The winner of the Champion of Champions is ABC Tissues.
Congratulations to Henry Ngai of ABC Tissue, our Champion of Champions.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Last night I have to take a sleeping pill, then I can sleep. I would like to thank the judging panel for giving me such an honorable award. 2 thumbs up to Australia multicultural policy, which gives every person a fair go.
As you saw there, Henry had just the biggest heart. He always had a smile on his face. and he had a ripping sense of humour. He will be sorely missed, a truly inspiring individual. And now I have the pleasure to introduce you to more inspiring people, courtesy of the Ethnic Business Awards Small Business category. As before, the key judging criteria are the obstacles and hardships overcome by the nominee, overall business success, growth, future potential, ingenuity in the marketplace, and contribution to the community and business landscapes. To qualify, finalists must have been born outside of Australia and have a business with an average annual turnover of up to $5 million. Presented to you in random order, the first cab off the rank, we have Construction Consultants Group from Parramatta, New South Wales. Originally from Lebanon, Michael Darkoul's business focus is on service, communication and relationships, people-based principles that, in the past 4 years, have expanded his company's client base, quintupled his staff and increased turnover and profits. Community-focused, Construction Consultants Group offers staff incentives, supports educational scholarships and gives to a multitude of Australian and overseas charities with a focus on homelessness, housing, chronic disease and fatal illness.
My name is Michael Martin Darkoul. My company is Construction Consultants. My company has two distinct arms. The first one is quantity surveying, and the second one is development/construction management. I lived the first 19 years of my life in Lebanon. My father passed away when I was 3. We were raised by my mother and my grandfather and grandmother. My grandfather was blind also, so I was his companion most of the day. There was a war in Lebanon, there was a civil war, it was scary bombs, there was dogfights by airplanes. Schooling would be intermittent. Security, safety, basic things like food. It was really difficult, but it added to the theory of not taking anything for granted. And we left on the 12th of November 1982. After I finished my university degree, I set up something called MMD Construction Consultants. I did a lot of work, mainly as a subcontractor with other firms and other companies, and then we rebranded to Construction Consultants. We started with only a handful of people, and now we have over 45 people around Australia. The main role of our quantity surveying division is we monitor projects on behalf of financial institutions. So the importance of the QS is to keep everybody on the right track financially. Project management is when we take over a job from an idea and we build it up and into a completed project. We generally work on multi-level residential, commercial, mixed developments that you see around. So we do large projects starting from, say, 20 units up to 1,500 units. We don't have staff turnover. All these guys have been with us for a long time. They're part of the family. The amount of experience that we have in this head office here is more than 200 years put together. And my grandfather used to say, the more you give, the more you make. Everything I do, I always based it on that principle. You have to give a little bit more. We look at all the charities that we look after and we support on a yearly basis. And we don't just pick one, we pick so many of them. And we think this is how else can we pay back this amazing country that we are living in. I love the fact that we welcome so many people every year. And I think this is beautiful. This just adds so much culture to where we live. And all these beautiful people that you meet. We have the best restaurants in the world. We have the best cafes in the world. We have the best coffee in the world. Australia is the best country in the world by miles. It's equal opportunity. If you're an honest person and you do the right thing, nobody bothers you. It's just superb.
Well, Michael's grandfather may not have had his sight when he said, the more you give, the more you make, but he certainly had vision. Ladies and gentlemen, congratulations to Michael Darkoul. Our next finalist in the small business category comes originally from Puglia in Italy. Head cheesemaker at Vanilla Cheese Australia, Vito Minuia fell so in love with cans that he sold everything in Italy, moved his family over and started again from scratch, making cheese by hand. Now based in Marrickville, Sydney, Vito has a thriving business that also helps new migrants establish themselves here in Australia. He employs a staff of 30 who he also calls family.
My name is Vito Minoia and the company name is Vanilla Cheese Australia. We make all fresh cheeses, Italian fresh cheeses, ricotta, bocconcini, artisan cheeses. We come from Italy, South Italy. The first time I come in Australia in holiday. I go back in Italy and then I start to talk with my wife, with my kids. After 6 months, we decide to come in Australia. We move in Australia. Yeah. Be here for 20 years nearly, you know, so I remember it was really hard because here no one, only my family. So I was already 43, 44 years old. So for me, new language at that age, it's a little bit hard. My daughter and my son, they was already 21 and 15. They love cans, tropical weather. So I say, okay, I started my first cheese factory in Cairns. The first hard one was finance. If you go to the bank is, no. In Cairns, we start all by hand. Slowly grow up and we start to buy few machinery. Surviving business only for North Queensland was a little bit hard, you know, because the town was small, it's not enough. For sure, we need to export the cheese all around Australia. But the problem was transport, flooding, cyclone, you know. So we are out of the market because the cost of production was double than Sydney or Melbourne. You know, it was really hard. We stayed there for 8 years and then we decided to move back in Sydney. When we was in Cairns, you know, it was hard, but a lot of people, they start to know Vanilla Cheese Australia, Vanilla Cheese. When we move in Sydney, soon the business grow up. Day after day, the business grow up, you know, 200%. In Sydney, we start with all my family and four people. And now all up, it's around 30 people. My company makes success because, you know, not much competition. A lot of Australians, they start to eat cheeses. They start to know good quality and we send the cheese all around Australia. Only North Territory, it's no, we not send. All the rest, we send our cheeses. I see good in the future because my son, my daughter, they come after me. Everyone grow up with this system work, with this tradition. So you can grow wrong. We come in Australia, first thing we see the good place to grow up my family. Yeah, I love Australia.
I don't know about you, but I'm seriously craving burrata now. How good is cheese? As Vanilla's advertising says, there's a story behind every craft, a hand behind every cheese, perfection behind every batch. Vito Minuia, congratulations. Now, the dairy market is clearly ripe for exploration, as our next finalist is also a dairy entrepreneur. Harman Singh, director of Should Dairy in Arndell Park, New South Wales, gave up a banking career to prove that Australia's ingredients could produce a high-quality, authentic-tasting Indian product. After much research and development, Harman's faith paid off. Should Dairy now enjoys steady growth and profits, is liability-free and ready to take Australian Indian dairy products to the world.
My name is Harman Singh and the name of our company is Should Dairy. We manufacture the Indian dairy products. The word Should means pure in Indian language. I came to Australia in 2001 as an international student. I wanted to study abroad and I asked my father, I said, if I could go abroad, and he willingly agreed for it. It was initially very difficult because I was quite young when I came here and I came here alone. But it was exciting. And, I happened to start a restaurant. And it was at the restaurant when I realized that there was much need of the authentic Indian dairy products. Basically, we wanted to develop a product here using Australian ingredients, 100% Australian ingredients, which is very, very close or at par with the product you get in India. To open up your own manufacturing plants was very challenging. I had no idea about manufacturing, no idea of distribution, marketing. Me and my wife, we put in all our savings into it. We went all in. We had major issues because to get the right product, we had to do a lot of experiments, and ultimately we got the product. Now we are in a position that our product is available Australia-wide. Majority of the restaurants, Indian restaurants in Australia, they use our product, and we are very, very humbled by it. We started with paneer. We got excellent feedback from our customers. This gave us the courage to start a new product. We started Indian-based yogurt. And now we have started with introducing ice creams. And this year we've started with the yogurt-based drinks. We have a growth rate of about 80 to 90% per year. We started with about 3 people. Now we have a strength of about 15 people in the company. Australia has given me an opportunity to do a fair and a just business. In future, I want to see this company not at a national platform, but at an international platform. I want to make Australia proud. I want to take these products into Europe, North America, into Asia, so that they should know the quality of the Australian-made product. I believe in this saying that if you want to walk fast, you walk alone. And if you want to walk far, you walk together. Ever since we've started the manufacturing business, everyone has succeeded, and I've made sure that everyone gets a good bite from the profit. Australia is a wonderful place to live, a wonderful place to have family, wonderful place to raise children, wonderful place to do business also. It has given me an opportunity to do something which I believe in. And we were lucky enough and we were passionate enough that we succeeded in our thoughts.
Okay, now I'm craving pistachio ice cream. How delicious did that look? Huge congratulations to Harman Singh of Should Dairy. Our last finalist in the small business category has created a little bit of Paris in Sydney's CBD. Originally from Vietnam, Saigon Fabrics was spawned when the Lam family of 8 drove from Perth to Sydney in a Datsun 180B, remember those? Catching pippies for food and sharing sleeping bags. Believing they could achieve anything, hard work and perseverance produced a company that's delivered quality and service for 34 years.
My name is Jenny Lam, and this is my sister. I'm Susie Lee, and we are the owners of Saigon Fabrics. We are a niche business specializing in high-quality couture fabrics. Customers would be mainly bridal parties in general, or anyone that has a special occasion. It could be television and filming, theatre, people in the arts industry. A lot of fabrics that we carry are from the same suppliers that supply to many well-renowned designers, such as Valentino, Elisab, Oscar de la Renta. The end of Vietnam War in 1975, the communist government took over the country. My parents were very concerned about our well-being and our futures, so they decided to escape and find freedom. So we went into one small boat. The first night was okay. We were relieved that we passed the dangers because if we were caught, we'll be all put in prison or being shot. So during the second night, I remember the storm came past and we thought the boat was going to sink because the boat was so small with a lot of people inside. We thought we were all going to die that night. Being 9 years old, it was really traumatized. In 1977, we were very fortunate to be accepted by the Australian people. Our family had no understanding of English at all, no money, but despite saying that, we felt very blessed that we have a shelter And we have food and water and clothes. Our mum and dad started the business in 1983. We saw our parents working 7 days a week. They never had any time off during public holidays. It really grounded both of us with the entrepreneurial spirit. Dad and Mum started with $5,000. Through the financial crisis, they went into the overdraft of $20,000 at 28% interest. They struggled at the time to pay off the overdraft. And when the first piece of lead was introduced to Saigon Fabric, we got rid of the overdraft over the short period of time. And since then, we have never borrowed $1 from the bank. We live in a world of fashion where it is fast and disposable. This is where we can come in and fill in that missing gap. Our fabrics are like a piece of art, yes, and we are here to inspire women to feel comfortable in their own skin, to feel empowered. When a customer comes to our store, they are receiving expert advice because we have a team of qualified designers and stylists. Today, the mountain we stand on is not about how much we have gained in monetary values, but it is a mountain filled with gratitude, with love, and with humility. Australia have given our family a second chance in life. We are forever grateful to this wonderful country that made us who we are today.
Gratitude, humility and love. What a moving story. Imagine going through that at 9 years of age. What a journey they've been on. Huge congratulations to Jenny and Susie. Well done. How about we give all of our finalists in the small business category another huge round of applause. And now, to serenade us through the second half of the evening, Sydney Music Company's incomparable Bo Yong Zhong. She will play Casado's Suite for Cello Solo No. 3, a passionate piece from the 1920s by the famous Spanish cellist Gaspar Casado. Please welcome Bo Yong Zhong. Wasn't that simply poetic, powerful, yet sweet and calm, an inspiring performance. How about another round of applause for Bo Young Jong?
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back to the stage Tracy Spicer.
I'd like to return now to the people who helped make the Ethnic Business Awards the success they are and gain some insight into what actually drives them. Please welcome to the stage Mr. Tony Jaja from Ethan Group, our major sponsor.
Good evening, Tracy, honourable guests and ladies and gentlemen.
Now, Ethan Group is Australia's largest privately owned technology service provider. It's been established since 2002, which in comparison to other industries is many lifetimes for an IT and communications company. How has Ethan Group kept up?
The pace of change throughout the world for business has never been as rapid as it is today. And 75 years was the number of average years that a business existed on the Fortune 500 back in the 50s. And today, it's 15 years. 10 of the top performing businesses in the world are technology-based companies. And, you know, the statistic just doesn't go away. It gets, you know, worse and worse as time goes on in terms of the challenge for businesses to innovate. And a lot of that innovation is driven through businesses being forced to change. Those that are capable of changing businesses usually exist within the business. If there's one thing that I could summarise Ethan as being, it's an organisation that creates innovation time. It gives time back to organisations, our customers particularly, so they can innovate. Those best fit to innovate are those within your business. But unfortunately, they're too busy keeping the lights on and operating the organisation with no time to change. So Ethan's been quite successful in working with our customers to provide them with a guaranteed service level and an arrangement which makes sense for them so that we can free up that innovation time and the most critical people within their organisation. Things like email, things like storage, backup, things like, you know, your network and your communications, who cares? They don't differentiate you. What differentiates organisations is the innovation and focusing on modernising the business itself to stay relevant. And that's how we've kept up.
That's very wise. So what advice would you give to our finalists tonight?
Having watched some of the stories and listened to some of the stories, I think I should be taking some of the advice. But if there's one thing on an innovation and technology front, is if you look at some of the best businesses in the world and you peel them right back, you tend to find that they started later in the game. Other businesses existed that did exactly the same thing, but they just did what they did really well. And they focused on that supply chain to ensure that they always existed. I've got many examples and I'm sure many ring a bell. So I guess the point of the story is if you focus, you'll succeed and you'll obviously evolve and survive in this changing world. And that's probably the only piece of, you know, advice that I can give within this time frame.
Yeah, finding your unique offering.
That's right.
Now, you've been a major sponsor of the Ethnic Business Awards for 4 years now. What strategic value do the awards offer an organisation like Ethan Group?
The awards themselves aren't just awards for the Ethan Group, and it's much more than just a major sponsorship for us. I think what the awards resemble and what they stand for are the fabric of Ethan Group, or what we'd like to think of Ethan Group. It's the hard work that goes into these organisations to make them successful. It's the sacrifices, it's the commitment, you know, it's all those, you know, values and ethics that we'd like to, you know, live by and stand by as an organisation to give our customers the very best chance of success. So the awards themselves represent our values, and that's why we're so grateful that we are part of it. Joseph and Angela and the team at the EBA, thank you for having us as a major sponsor. It's a privilege, it's an honour, and we look forward to many more years of great success and many more years of being part of these awards. Thank you.
Now, you mentioned hard work and commitment, but there's also work-life balance, because the Ethnic Business Awards is a family, of course. How do you manage that aspect?
I would have no work-life balance if it wasn't for my wife, Gail. You know, she's been my support. She's the credit behind lots of my success, and I think, you know, thank you, Gail, for being there and for supporting the family and supporting me so I can support the business. You know, my work life comes from my partner of life.
Thank you so much to you and to Ethan Group for your tremendous support of the Ethnic Business Awards.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Tracy.
much.
Cheers.
Well, it's already been a spectacular evening of insights, stories and entertainment, but there's plenty more to come. The Ethnic Business Awards medium to large business category features companies with an average annual turnover in excess of $5 million. As with the other divisions, finalist nominations have been evaluated on hardship endured, growth, competition, ingenuity and, of course, success. And so, in no particular order, but starting with Chatsworth, New South Wales, let's meet Indian-born Dr. Rustam Kanga, CEO and founder of Omniscient Proprietary Limited, the company that literally wrote the book on smart cities. With 50 international patents, Omniscient has often been named #1 in its field. At a recent event in Dubai, Dr. Kanga was lauded as the father of AI-based computer vision. That makes Australia the birthplace. Let's find out more.
I am Rustam Kanga, and the company is Omniscient. We provide an artificial intelligence-based multi-sensory analytic system. What does that mean? It means we understand video, sound, and smell from different types of sensors in extremely crowded and complex scenes at low resolution at long distances. I was born in Bombay, in India. I went to university there, and after that, I went to England to the London School of Economics before finally turning up in Australia in 1977, which is a long time back. It was difficult because we came with very little. We came with 2 suitcases and about $100 and a lot of hope. At the time, artificial intelligence was something very new. Having spent such a long time in the computer industry, I'd risen to a fairly high level. So along with few partners, we decided to do something totally different. You know, we were a bit naive. At the time, we thought we'd build a system and make our money in 3 months and retire in a year. It took a lot longer than that. It took us to 2007, which was 7 years before we even broke even. And then came the global financial crisis, which didn't help us at all because we had suddenly broken even and then we stopped breaking even again. Around about 2013, Singapore decided that they wanted to be the world's first smart city to improve the quality of life for citizens. And we were, I suppose, in the right place at the right time. We went to them with our vision of what a smart city would be like, and they said, yeah, that's what we want. Today, we have clients in 30 different industries. We've done projects in about 50 countries around the world. Shopping malls use us to understand how people spend their time in the chocolate section or the vegetable section and so on. Theme parks use us to find lost children. Banks use us to prevent skimming at ATMs. Manufacturing plants use us for quality control. The number of applications are enormous. I think our philosophy has been to focus on being the best in the market, and then the growth comes from that. The achievement hasn't come from me primarily, it's come from the whole team. It's all of us together. I've got my business partner, Ivy, who has contributed enormously. For us, I suppose having had the advantage of being first in this market, we've created our own brand. So I think the technology will keep growing. We have to figure out how we stay ahead of the technology, especially against our now much more powerful competitors. And in 10 years' time, hopefully we will be doing things that I can't even imagine today.
And to think in the early days, Dr. Kanga's friends and relatives would ask when they were going to get real jobs. A round of applause for the foresight of Dr. Rustam Kanga. Now for a story that reflects a personal touch. Originally from Vietnam, Dung Le of Hollywood Nails Services in Blackburn, Victoria, may have arrived in Australia with nothing, but he's since expanded the work and business opportunities for the Australian Vietnamese community. An active fundraiser for charities, community events and buildings, Dung Le has touched the lives of so many.
My name is Dung Le, and my company name is Hollywood Nails. We have about 80 salons. The Hollywood Nail does the nail care. Also, we do waxing, tinting. You know, my father in the Vietnamese military in the south. After 75, they arrest him and put in the they call brainwash concentration camp for 7.5 years. And when they release him, you know, 1982, I escaped from Vietnam with my wife and my daughter, just 5 months old, because we're looking for freedom. We are about 27 people on very small boat. We spent 6 days and 6 nights, and we rescued by Philippine fishermen. When I come to Australia, you know, the people here, you know, very welcome. And I remember at that time, my community, you know, the main job is the in clothing industry. I in this industry for 14 years. One of my friends in USA and bring the idea, the nail bar in here, to change the new job for my people, my community. From one shop, you know, and then couple of months I have the second one, and then about 4 every year. Just after 2 years, I opened 3 schools, one in Melbourne, one in Sydney, and one in Brisbane. But after they graduate from the school, mostly they work for me, or they can open their own business, or they can become my franchisee. Now in whole group we have about over 500 staff. We have the nail supply too, run by my son, to supply to my franchise company salon. And my proud, you know, to create a new job for my community. That is the number one, you know. I get involved a lot for my Vietnamese community in Melbourne, and even, you know, for the Australian people too. We do a lot of charity for the San Army, the Flying Doctor, the Fred Hollow Foundation, the LC for Kids. Hollywood now, you know, still grow since 1988. You know, my passion, and I love it. So, you know, it happened. My successful in Australia because I have freedom here. Thank you for give myself, my family, the opportunity to call in Australia home.
Isn't it lovely to see someone who's gone through so much, that shocking boat journey to build a thriving family business in Australia and then help so many others within his community. Well done, Dung Le. And now from nails to wheels and tyres. Introducing from New South Wales, Lebanese-born Sam Taleb from Tempe Tyre and Wheel Centre. It's gobsmacking to think that in 1992, a $500 investment to establish a business could evolve into a multi-million-dollar concern. Tempe Tyre and Wheel Centre is now an extensive wholesale operation with warehouses in 4 capital cities, a 7-day-a-week retail business and a mobile truck tyre division operating in the Greater Sydney area. They even manufacture wheels, or with their CNC division, machine other wheels to suit any motor vehicle.
My name is Sam Taleb and our company is Tempe Tyres. We specialise in everything tyres, wheels, mechanical. This shop that you see here is only 10% of what we do. The bigger picture is we're predominantly wholesalers. We stick to what we know and we do it well. We originated from Lebanon. We migrated to Australia in 1985. In the early days, it was very difficult. We didn't understand the language. We adapted pretty quick. You know, if something you don't understand, you have to learn it. In the early 90s, my dad had the opportunity to buy into Tempe Tyres. My brothers and I came into the business and we just wanted to do things bigger and better. Being a small company that predominantly sells second-hand and retreaded tyres back then, it was a massive struggle. I remember one company in particular said the image of your shop is not good enough to hold our product. We had to get what the customers wanted at the end of the day. And you know, we just pushed hard. We started finding other avenues to get stock. The more difficulty we would go through, the more determined we were to get to the other side. The prices that we provide, the service that we offer, we hardly have any competition. That's why a lot of the tyre shops out there are buying from us, because we have a product at the right price and we have a delivery strategy that works. We cater for everyone. A big key in our success is obviously family. We're a family-orientated business. We're a family of 6 brothers and 1 sister and my dad. Each one of us has their own portfolio and we put 110% into the business to push it to where it is today. Back in the olden days, it was just second-hand tyres, a few $1,000s a day. Today, we've grown to at least $160 million a year turnover. As of last week, we've got roughly about 210 employees Australia-wide. We consider a lot of the staff as family, so we are still considered a family business in that respect. I don't think there's anywhere on the planet that you can do this, you can achieve the same thing as what you can in Australia. It hasn't come easy, but thanks to where we live today, if you want to work, if you want to put the hard yards in, you will get somewhere at the end of the day. I would never dream of living anywhere else in the world.
Putting the hard yards in, that's certainly a theme tonight, and long may those wheels keep turning. Congratulations, General Manager of Tempe Tyre and Wheel Centre, Sam Taleb. And finally tonight we have TNA Solutions, a company with a genuinely proactive approach to doing business. In the food packaging world, why wait for clients to make a demand when you can identify potential problems and find solutions yourself? No wonder TNA has filed over 840 patents globally. Let's meet Scottish-born Alf Taylor and Egyptian-born Nadia Taylor from Sydney Olympic Park in New South Wales.
My name is Alf Taylor.
My name is Nadia Taylor.
And the name of our company is TNA Solutions Australia.
We manufacture processing and packaging equipment for the food industry.
I'm originally from Scotland, Glasgow. I came as an immigrant in 1966. Our major reason for leaving Scotland was a lack of employment for my father.
I'm from Cairo, Egypt. Mum and Dad brought us to Australia for a better life. Understanding the Australian accent initially was a bit of a challenge.
Most people had difficulty understanding me because I had an extremely broad Glasgow accent. I've got a degree as a mechanical engineer, and as soon as I finished, I applied for a job at Arnott's Biscuits, which was where I met Nadia.
Then we fell in love among the potato chips,
so to speak.
I was a PA to the managing director in those days.
We built the new factory and they moved out to Smithfield. I lived at Coogee and it was just too far to travel. Nadia suggested, why don't we start our own company? Which I thought was a fantastic idea. I just didn't know what exactly we would do with it.
Initially, we started as consulting engineers. One night, he was in the pub over a beer coaster. He came up with this amazing idea to package snack foods at double the speed with very high performance.
Most people in the industry had very strong beliefs that this was physically impossible. So we built the prototype machine, and as soon as we tested it, it was like, it just worked.
Well, we now have 6 manufacturing plants globally and over 500 employees.
Most competitors really did not believe we would ever succeed. But as we became more and more successful, we ended up with 3 of them infringing our patents. And these companies were 10 times our size. We just set about and took them all to court. It was very risky, but we won the cases. We are one of the biggest owners of patents in Australia. We have at the moment, it's about 400. Staying ahead of the competition is actually not difficult. You just have to innovate. You innovate in product development, you innovate in business development, and you innovate in human resource development. You've got to improve people, help them to improve themselves.
Since the inception of TNA, our sales have been at $2 billion, including Australia. Alf and I and the team at TNA love giving back. So we have set up the Nadia and Alf Taylor Foundation. We build schools, we support orphanages, we put in water tanks to provide clean water for villages. We've put in roads in Uganda, and they actually named it after us, TNA Avenue, which was quite exciting. If someone's considering immigrating to Australia, I really believe if you want to work hard, the opportunities are still here. I love living in Australia.
Best place on earth.
Love Australia and potato chips. It's a fertile mix. Well, wonderful work they're doing around the world, in Uganda as well. Fabulous. A round of applause for Alf and Nadia Taylor. I've got to say, it's times like this that I'm thankful I'm not a judge, I'm purely the MC. What a difficult decision. Let's celebrate all of our nominees in the medium to large business category. Our nominees and finalists like to fly high, as do our sponsors. How's that for a segue? Let's take a moment to meet Eric Jelinek, who's head of Qantas Business Rewards. Please welcome him.
Seeing Tracy interview the people earlier, I was wondering whether this was going to be an interview and you were going to surprise me with some questions, but I'm delighted to be here regardless. And it's our absolute pleasure as Qantas to be supporting what a fantastic award ceremony this is this evening. And as a very proud Australian, born in the UK, of a South African mother and a half Czech, half Swedish father, I think I'm uniquely, well not uniquely, but I feel very comfortable here in this very diverse audience and guest tonight. So it's a fantastic evening this evening. And small businesses have played a huge role in Australia and promoting diversity and inclusion among their customers and communities, whilst contributing significantly to Australia's economic growth. And at Qantas, we have long been supporters of small to medium enterprises. We fly thousands of businesses around Australia and internationally every day. And we are very much a part of how they operate and how they grow their plans and their businesses. And we're really proud to support that growth by using their services and sharing their products with our customers both on the ground and in the air. And one example is the delicious lemon myrtle slices provided by Herb Smith, who runs Dreamtime Tucker, a small company based in Wellington in regional New South Wales. I have probably one of the best jobs in Qantas, heading up Qantas Business Rewards, because I get to meet and listen to small businesses pretty much every day. And as we heard earlier, it's the stories we hear from small businesses that are just totally inspirational. And it's the opportunities that I have to talk to small businesses that really inspire me every day. And it's no mean feat, and it takes a real special kind of person to make a small business a success. And that's exactly who we're celebrating here this evening. At Qantas, we're strong believers in having an inclusive culture, and we champion the value of having different perspectives, both in business and in every other aspect of our lives. It's wonderful to be surrounded by so many other champions this evening who are passionate about celebrating diversity, promoting inclusion, and turning that into really successful businesses. Congratulations to all the nominees and winners tonight. Australia is a richer country thanks to your influence, and you play a significant role in making it a more prosperous place to live, and without doubt, the best country in the world to live in. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Eric Jelinek, for your and Qantas Business Rewards support and enthusiasm for the Ethnic Business Awards. How about another round of applause for Qantas? They really are tremendous supporters. And now, the moment we've all been waiting for, the announcement of the winners of the 30th Ethnic Business Awards. I can't believe it's so exciting! To present the prizes to our winners, we have Joe Rizk of Arab Bank Australia, Tony Jaja of Ethan Group will be presenting the trophies, and to present the award for Indigenous in Business and to say a few words, would you please welcome to the stage the Leader of the House and Minister for Defence, the Honourable Christopher Pyne.
Well, thank you very much, Tracy. It's a great pleasure to be here, and more importantly, it's a great pleasure to present the award for the Indigenous Business of the Year. I've been associated with the Assaf family for a couple of decades, not 30 years, but 20 years, and an enthusiastic supporter of the Ethnic Business Awards for all of that time. It is a very important contribution that the Ethnic Business Awards makes to Australian business and to our community and to our multicultural community in particular. But a few years ago, Joseph decided and his board decided to implement an Indigenous Business Award. And I don't think you can overestimate the importance of the Indigenous Business Award. It's really the only one of its kind of such a large scale in Australia. And every time any of us see these amazing stories of Indigenous businesses, it provides us with inspiring stories and role models and mentors for Indigenous people right across Australia, particularly for Indigenous young people. There is such a buzz that I get from seeing these Indigenous businesses winning in a real competition in the economy, in the marketplace, creating those mentors. Now, when I was 16, I read a book called The Making of the President in 1960. It was about the election of John F. Kennedy. And from that moment onwards, I was really bitten by the political bug. My mentor, my hero was John F. Kennedy. All of us in this room growing up would have had people that we looked up to, mentors, role models. The wonderful thing about the Indigenous Business Award is that every one of those stories is a role model, a mentoring example for other Indigenous people in the Indigenous community across Australia. Every one of them. The one who wins, of course, will take home the trophy. But all four are winners for simply getting here tonight and getting off their collective butts, if you like, and getting out there and making a success of themselves in business. It's a tremendous thing, and it's a tremendous thing that the Ethnic Business Awards gives them that recognition. So it's a great pleasure to be associated with it tonight, and congratulations to all the finalists.
Thank you so much, Christopher Pyne. I will now remind you of all the finalists. The finalists are Zancott Recruitment, Cole Workwear, JNC Group Australia, and Cultural Choice. The best of luck to each and every one of you.
And the good news is that this is in large type. Because of my vanity, I left my glasses at the dining room table, which would have been a disaster. Thank you, Prime Minister. And the winner of the 2018 Ethnic Business Awards Indigenous in Business category is JNC Group.
Appreciate it.
Congratulations, Jeremy.
Oh, thank you very much. And thank you, Chris, for those kind words. You're our best customer, so again, you're on my list to thank the feds. Do us proud. Look, in all honesty, what a great event. Our first event here, the Ethnic Business Awards, and to the Assaf family and the whole business community here. It's fabulous to be honoured in this very kind way. Like to also thank all the supporting sponsors here, including Qantas. Hopefully this is just like a hallmark to get to the Chairman's Club, is it, I think? It's honorary position. That's what I'm badging for. Mr. Joyce, if you get that message. Yeah, I'd also like to thank the people that come every day and toil in our business, because they certainly are the backbone. They take time away from their families. They work across the country in our business, do long hours, and pretty much work their guts out. And that's because we're a community, and that's because we're a family in our business. And I'm very proud of that. And that takes me to the next part, my other family, my wife, who's been my rock and my precious for over 20 years. She's certainly been supportive of me each and every day, which is, can be tough, I can tell you. Our 5 beautiful children that we have at home as well. I do this every day so you can see and be inspired, hopefully someday, and do the same for your children. We all stretch ourselves and want to make the most of this. My mum and dad, mum's looking down on me. I know she'd be incredibly blessed and giving us good fortune as well. So thank you so much. And the last thing, if not least, the $10,000 cheque I think that comes with this award, we'd be blessed to give that to a beautiful community school back in Armidale that has a nutrition program. So be honoured. Thank you so much.
Well, what a beautiful speech about family and community and generosity. That is so wonderful. Thank you so much. Congratulations, Jeremy Blanche of JNC. Just wonderful. Congratulations, Jeremy, and actually welcome to the Ethnic Business Awards Alumni Network. Welcome all of the Indigenous in Business finalists, indeed all of the finalists here tonight. It's been such a privilege to hear your stories, and we look forward to following your successes in the years to come. How wonderful. How about another round of applause for our finalists? Now, to share his thoughts and present the award in the small business category, would you please welcome the Minister for Immigration, Citizenship and Multicultural Affairs, the Honourable David Coleman, MP.
Thank you. Thanks, Tracy, and good evening, everyone. It is fantastic to be here on this incredibly special night. I want to thank, in particular, Joseph and his family for this extraordinary institution that they've created over 30 years. It's an incredibly special event, this one, and it's nice to be here and to have the privilege of presenting this Small Business Award. I was thinking before, if you wanted to try and define the importance of immigration and multiculturalism in Australia in a single sentence or in an elegant phrase, you couldn't do it any better than we've seen in those video vignettes this evening of those extraordinary Australian success stories. They really exemplify what we are as a country, a nation where people can come from any corner of the globe, practice any religion, as long as they contribute to our country, get involved in our country and help to build the backbone of our country. And what we've seen in those videos is an extraordinary testament not only to those businesses, but frankly to the society that we have built. And it's something that we should all be very, very proud of. With respect to small business, 1 in 3 small businesses in Australia, 1 in 3, is owned and operated by an immigrant. And it's been estimated that those businesses employ about 1.4 million Australians. So migrants provide the backbone of our small business economy, a tremendous successes of people who have worked hard, played by the rules, created better opportunities for the next generation, and helped to build us into the greatest immigration nation in the world and the greatest multicultural society in the world. So it's a tremendous honour to be here tonight, and very much looking forward to presenting the winner of the small business category this evening. Thanks very much.
Thank you so much, David. Let me remind you of the finalists now. And the finalists in the small business category are construction consultants, vanilla cheese, Should Dairy, and Saigon Fabrics. Good luck, everyone.
And the winner of the 2018 Ethnic Business Awards Small Business category is Construction Consultants.
It's very nice to see a standing ovation and a huge round of applause. Congratulations to Michael Darkool of Construction Consultants in Parramatta.
A very short speech. I was honoured enough already to be a finalist amongst amazing people like the people you have seen before. But to have this, I thank very much the Ethnic Business Awards, Joe and Angela, I thank Maria, I thank all the sponsors for their amazing sponsorship of everyone here tonight. Obviously, we wouldn't all have been here tonight if it wasn't for the Assaf family and the rest of the sponsors. This is the biggest thank is for my mother who taught us, my brother and myself. She taught us hard work, and I thank her very much. I thank my family, my lovely wife Huda and my 3 children. I thank my brother for being the best brother that anybody can have, and his family, and my nephew Alex. I thank my second family, which is the people who work with us, and we work together as a family. My grandfather taught us that the more you give, the more you make. There are a few people that are here tonight that exemplify the giving, the abundance of giving. Thank you to Norman Saraf. Thank you, Elias Pitar. Thank you, he's not here tonight, George Shad, who had a huge influence on my life and my brother's life when we first arrived to Australia. November is when we arrived to Australia in 1982. And it's also fitting that today is Lebanon's Independence Day. So it's an amazing night, and thank you again. Thank you all, and appreciate it. Thanks.
The more you give, the more you make. It's so true, and how fitting that it is Lebanon's Independence Day. Thank you so much, Michael, for thanking your mum, which I thought was gorgeous. And thank you for sharing your remarkable personal journey and story of business success. How about another round of applause? Okay, it's time for the final award this evening, the Medium to Large Business Award, which celebrates the success of companies with an average annual turnover in excess of $5 million. To present this award, please welcome the Honourable Tony Burke, MP.
Your Excellency, Major General Jeffreys, Prime Minister, parliamentary colleagues. Before I say anything about the nominees, this will be one of the last speeches of the night. How wonderful has Tracy Spicer been tonight? Been coming to this event for many years, but the passion, and every time we hear Joseph's words being retold about that suitcase full of dreams, about every immigrant being their own economic stimulus package, we're reminded of the extraordinary story that Joseph and Angela lend to all of us tonight. But tonight's been a night of stories for so many of you. And what we have seen in those vignettes for you is a life's mission. And do know that while it's a night dedicated to Ethnic Business Awards, when we talk about multicultural Australia, we're not talking about some minority. We're talking about the definition of our country. We're talking about what modern Australia is. And so many of you who've done the interviews that have been shown tonight have at different points expressed your gratitude and thanks to Australia. But do understand, with the applause that has followed every time, that's just an inkling of the fact that to you, Australia says thank you every single day.
Beautiful words there. Thank you, Tony. And once again, to summarise, the 4 finalists in the medium to large business category are I Omniscient, Hollywood Nails Services, Tempe Tire and Wheel Centre, and TNA Solutions. It's a pity there can only be one winner.
And the winner is... The winner of the 2018 Ethnic Business Awards medium to large business category is TNA Solutions.
It looks like there were tears and hugs all round when that was announced. Huge congratulations to Alf and Nadia Taylor of TNA Solutions from Olympic Park, Sydney, New South Wales.
My heart's going boom, boom, boom. It's not over you, darling, I'm sorry. Will I do it in Egyptian or will I do it in English? Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, fellow migrants, we're honoured and privileged to be receiving this award tonight. Thank you to Mr. Joseph Assaf, Mr. Joe Risk at the Arab Bank for nominating us, the Ethnic Business Awards team, the judges, sponsors, and congratulations to all the finalists. Who would have thought that an Egyptian and a Scotsman with confused Australian children would be standing here today, all these years later? 2 teenage immigrants who landed in Australia, would you believe, the same year and the same month, would meet at work, fall in love among the potato crisps, and decide to start their own business. Immigrating to Australia was one of the best decisions our parents ever made. Thank you. A multicultural country with a great opportunities irrespective of your background. All you need is a great idea, determination, the ability to keep going in the face of adversity, and a supportive bank manager. We love Australia. We feel so blessed and lucky to be living in this wonderful country with great opportunities, equality, freedom of speech, and most of all, care for the disadvantaged in the community. We feel privileged and honoured for being recognised. We dedicate this award to our hard-working colleagues around the world, our customers and suppliers for their confidence in TNA. Thanks to our 4 kids, Natasha, Jeff, Lisa and Adam, who put up with our travel and a rather hectic lifestyle. We also would like to give a big thanks to my parents and sister, who are no longer with us. Alf's mum, my brother Frank, who's here tonight, who has been my rock. Thanks, Frank. They've all helped us during this whole process of company development. It's been truly an incredible 36 years, and we thank you again for this amazing honour. DNA will use this money to improve the lifestyle and education of some of our children in the Middle East. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Wow. Alf and Nadia, congratulations. Thank you for your passion, your eloquence and your humility, and for talking not only about business but about the importance of family and community as well. You both have such an amazing story and an extraordinary business, and I can just see the movie now, Love in a Time of Crisps. I can see it happening, you know, it's right there. Your experiences and insight and those of your fellow nominees across all categories reflect the sentiments that Joseph expresses so eloquently, that endless possibilities are generated by multiculturalism, not only in business, but in society as a whole. Each and every one of your stories is simply inspirational. And I think we should have another round of applause for every story we've heard tonight. This evening has been an absolute delight, and each and every one of you has been an amazing part of it. It's always a pleasure and a privilege to present the Ethnic Business Awards because it celebrates our nation's success in a way that reflects so positively upon its people and the myriad sacrifices made along the way. The kind of resilience that's brought the nation to a place from which we can all move forward successfully into the future together. This very special evening would not have been possible without the vision of our remarkable host, Mr. Joseph Assaf. Joseph, thank you. I think we should also put our hands together in a moment for our lucky country. Lucky because the opportunities it gives its people, but lucky too because it has all of us, especially new and Indigenous Australians, and the insight and the energy they put into developing businesses to drive the economy to keep us lucky. Congratulations to everyone. Thank you so much. Once again, I'd like to thank our sponsors. Without them, we wouldn't be celebrating this milestone, the 30th year of the Ethnic Business Awards. Our thanks go to Joseph Assaf and his team, Ethan Group, Arab Bank Australia, ABC Tissue Products, WPP Australia New Zealand, Qantas Business Rewards, Australian Government Department of Home Affairs, Living Gems Lifestyle Resorts, Cedar Meats Australia, Divest Healthcare, Cinex, Heworth, Multi Connections, Design Awards and Hilton Sydney. But wait, there's more! Also, our media partners, SBS, the National Indigenous Television Network, the Aurora Community Channel, Chujeong, the Sunrise Daily Newspaper, Neos Cosmos, Media Today Group, Top Media Group, Indian Link Media Group, El Telegraph, the 1688 Chinese Newspaper Group, and the Daily Chinese Herald. Round of applause for our supporters and sponsors. To all of you, and to everyone watching from the Hilton Sydney and the 30th Ethnic Business Awards, thank you from Joseph Assaf and his team at the EBA, and from me, thank you for being part of this absolutely extraordinary event, and a very good night.
Thanks for watching the Ethnic Business Awards. Please join us again next year.